Pull up a chair and sit on the floor. During the day, in the middle of the night, two dead boys got up to fight. Back to back they faced each other, drew their swords and shot each other. The deaf policeman heard the noise, came there and arrested those two dead boys. If you do not believe this tale is true, ask the blind man. He saw it all too. I have honestly no idea where that's from, or where I heard it, or how I know it. And I know that I haven't heard it from any source but my own mouth in 15 years. Yet somehow it's just in there, just burned in there. And it just comes up at random points, random times. And that's dealing with life, I guess.
I used to think if I couldn't find hope, I should just let it all go. I used to think if I couldn't make dreams come true, I should just let them all go. When life seems impossible, look from a new angle, change just one little thing. When life feels intolerable, find your true source of love. Concentrate, focus on love.
I got another new plant. I did though. It's pretty cool. I was just thinking 10 minutes ago, do you think that you've got your last phone number now? Because 10 years ago, I feel people were changing numbers every year or two. It was pretty frequent. I know I myself had a few. At least like a few. And even now, I've had a few phones, but my number is the same. It's so easy to transfer numbers and to keep all that. And I was on a WhatsApp, and for some reason I ended up in the start a conversation page or a new message page or whatever. And there's all these contacts in there, and obviously it's taking my phone contacts and just putting them in there. It's like, oh, I didn't even know that I had these people's numbers in my phone, first of all. And then secondly, I'm surprised that they still have that same number, because I haven't talked to them in years. But obviously on WhatsApp you can see the picture. And so all these people have the same phone numbers 5 years later, at least, whatever it is. And it's only going to get easier to keep the same phone number. So I ask again, do you think you're on your last phone number? And if you are, how's that make you feel? Are we just not going to have phone numbers at some point? Is that probably closer to where we're actually trending? And at what point is a phone not a phone? Our phones, we still call them our phones, but they're computers, let's be real. The fact that we call them phones is just because they started as phones. We just started adding things to phones, but it's so much more than a phone now. Do you think we'll stop calling them phones, or does something have to be released that's its own thing, where you don't have the phone number? You know, there's no texting or calling because you can do that through this app and that app, Skype or Zoom or whatever's loaded onto it already. And that's a better way of doing things without the need of a phone number. That's gotta be what's coming, right? Because yeah, when you think of a phone, you got the place you hear from, place you talk to, and you got the digits. I rarely look at the actual keypad, number pad on my phone. The keyboard I see a lot, which again lends itself to the fact that it's a computer more than a phone. In my head, I'm going through, it should be more like a laptop. And I was like, it should be called a hand top, but it's not really on the top of the hand. And I was like, we should just call it a handy. But then it's like, walking around the house all furious. Somebody asks you what's wrong. Like, where's my handy? Don't think my girlfriend would appreciate that. Or your buddy. Go up to your buddy. Do you have my handy? Been without a phone for so long, you're just like, forgot what it's like to have a handy. Yeah, I guess all I'm saying is that it shouldn't be called phones anymore, probably. And we're not going to need phone numbers in a few years, I guess, is my conclusion. So do with that information what you may, what you will. But then, that being said, I do I do like my phone number. It's got a nice ring to it. Oh, man. Did anybody realize that it's spring? In case you haven't noticed, it's spring out there. I was back at work yesterday, and after work, I went to what we up here like to call Canadian Tire. For the rest of you around the world, maybe you just call it Tire. But I stopped and I got the plant, and then I was biking home, and it was this beautiful light rain, and the cloud coverage was pretty thin. You could see the yellowness and brightness of the sun behind the clouds, like trying to shine through. And so it wasn't gray, it was like this weird yellow, nice yellow. A nice pukey yellow. It was really, really quite pretty. And I was just biking home, enjoying the rain not being cold. And then I realized that it was 9 o'clock and it wasn't dark yet. I was like, what? Hold the handy. Last time I went outside, it was March. Now it's May. So shout out the Rona for that, jumping us right into the middle of spring. 2020 has been on some shit, though, hey? Let's be real. Let's be real for a minute. In January, or sometime in January, it was probably started before and was going on, but the peak of the Australia wildfires, that time was pretty crazy. That was everywhere, all over social medias. The fucking koalas were trying to ride the kangaroos to get out, and they were all dying. It was really sad. And everybody all over the world was raising money. My work, we had an Australia fund, and everywhere I went, they were asking to donate to Australia for the wildfires, and lots of crazy videos, and just, it seemed insane. You know, a whole continent was burning away, it felt like. And now, not only does that seem like it's not a big deal, it seems like it was so long ago. And it was only 3 months ago. And then the US killing Qasem Soleimani, and it felt like we were heading for World War III. There's some great memes out there. Iran attacked a US base, and then they shot down a passenger plane. Everything was crazy. Things sort of started to settle down there. And then Kobe Bryant died. And I know that people have different opinions on him, and that's fair. Those are warranted. And he's just an athlete and maybe doesn't hold the same worldly impact as the other two situations. But for sports fans of any ilk, and of which there are many in the world, that was shattering. Kobe was in the conversation, obviously, for greatest of all time. And those people usually don't just die. And they definitely don't die after their career, but before they're even inducted into the Hall of Fame. For hockey fans, that would be if Gretzky or Mario or died right after their career, or if Sid or Ovi died in the next couple of years. Imagine Messi or Ronaldo dying within a couple of years. Or a guy like Mike Trout or LeBron or Tom Brady, Federer, Nadal. The greats of their sports. It's unprecedented. There's that, I remember when it happened, I was trying to think of anything that could come close, and the closest that I could come to was Roy Halladay, but nowhere near the same level or impact in the game. And it's crazy that it happened. And the sporting world was definitely robbed of someone who was probably going to have just as big of an impact in the game and in sports in general after his career as he did during. And then 2020 was like, all right, I'm glad y'all having fun. That was just a cheeky appetizer. Well, you've been eating all that. I've been cooking up this little concoction in China. And then, bam, Corona apocalypse shuts the world down. It's been 2 months and places are trying to open up again, and we're getting there. As we're getting closer to be able to get back to some form of structure and normalcy, 2020 says, yeah, what if Kim Jong-un died? How would y'all feel? And that's the craziest part, is 2020 isn't even telling us whether he's dead or not. 2020 is just testing the waters right now, putting little feelers out there. A little Schrodinger's dictator. And I don't even know what to think either way. Does anything change? I think what's most likely is even if he is dead, nothing will change, nothing drastic, nothing great. But I think that's what makes it so interesting and so compelling, is that if he does die, then something will change. Obviously, he won't be there. It just means that there's potential for drastic change, because there will be somebody different in charge. And so it's compelling in that sense. But honestly, at this point, if in December a UFO doesn't come down from the sky, open up its doors, and Jesus comes out riding a Sasquatch, beside him an alien riding the Loch Ness, and then Tupac and Biggie come out and do a big joint concert, I'm going to be pretty disappointed with the ending of this season of Earth. But doesn't this kind of feel like the last season? How are the writers gonna top this? I feel like this is what they've been working up to the whole time. And I guess speaking of the next season, I've been wondering, is there going to be a lack of new TV shows and new movies at some point in the next year or two, or however long it takes, with all of these different productions and things being shut down from the coronavirus? And I paused there and had that because I don't want to be still talking about the coronavirus. Like, I feel, first, I don't want to keep pushing it and keep talking about it, but I also just feel like let's just get over it. build a bridge and fucking get over it. I do feel we're getting there. We're getting close. But yeah, you got to think movies take a long time to film and to get things figured out, and they're usually on quite the tight schedules and things, and now all of that's on pause, and so everything with the release date of, I don't know how post-production or whatever takes, but I don't know, let's say mid-2021, is there just going to come a time where there's no new movies? Or is it like the end of this year, there's just going to be no new movies to end the year? And then what does that mean for the Oscars and award shows and things? Can you really give a movie? I mean, did you ever have a dream that you could do anything? Can you really give a movie an award when there's only like 7 movies to choose from? I don't really care. Just wondering. Everybody's probably just gonna watch sports. Right? There won't be too many new movies and shows. And all the sports are just going to be packing their schedules and trying to fit things in. I've had this idea for starting a rec league. Obviously, I play hockey, but I played soccer growing up, and I enjoy basketball. I enjoy playing all sports, and I thought it would be interesting. I mean, at a professional level, it would be interesting for sure, but I don't think there's a way to, how the talent would end somewhere. Anyway, the idea would be, or is, that you have a team of however many guys you want to do it for, 10, let's say 10, maybe 15. Yeah, probably 15, 18, something like that. Anyway, you've got a team of guys. It's the same guys like any professional team, except it's a multi-sport league. So you got Team A and Team B, Team C, Team D, and they've got Guy A, Guy B, Guy C on one team, and Guy 1, Guy 2, Guy 3 on another, and Guy white, black, and yellow on another. That's probably racist. But those teams are those teams, and they have their players, and then they'll play each other. One week they're playing soccer. And then the next week, those two teams with the same players, now they're playing hockey. And, one team might have been really good at soccer, or they've got one really good soccer player. Now they're playing hockey, and the other team's really good at hockey, or they've got a really good hockey player. And then they're playing basketball. They're both kind of terrible at basketball. Then they're playing football. And they go through all these different team sports as, that one team. So you either need to have these really good all-around type athletes, or you got to have some really dedicated to one sport type athletes that are passable, at least, at other sports. And it would be interesting to see the way that teams build themselves. You'd probably have that grinded out team that there's no superstar, but they're all pretty good at all the sports. And then you'd have this one team that's got, the Messi, the Trout, the Ovi. And, for each sport, they've got that one superstar while the rest sort of lag behind. And think about the rivalries. You play a game of soccer and take a hard tackle, get in the guy's face, but at soccer you can't really do much. Like, wait till next week. Wait till we're on the ice. They catch him with his head down coming across the blue line. It'd be fun. Be a good time. So sport leagues, if you're all dying to get back to it, put that together for me. I just finished reading a book pretty recently called The Circle by Dave Eggers. And first off, I really enjoyed it. It's just under 500 pages. I got through it in 3 days because I just couldn't put it down. That's a lot of reading for me, at least. It wasn't that it was exciting and intense and things were happening. It was just written in such a way where this suspense and feeling of something more going on was just sort of lingering the whole time, and I was chasing whatever that was. And to be honest, I did feel slightly disappointed in the fact that maybe there never was a big whoa type moment. You know, the biggest reveal, and there was a big reveal towards the end, but that was something that I had first guessed at around like page 50. And I think that it was pretty obvious pretty early on what that was. But that being said, it didn't take away from the message of the book or even really its quality. That was just sort of par for the course and what the book was about, which was basically just being weary of technology. This girl, she starts working at this tech company, and this is probably set, I don't know, 5-10 years in the future. There's a tech company that like bought Facebook, and they've taken your whole online presence and the way you pay for like online banking and everything, and basically everything is just in one, so you don't need anything else, and it's just everybody's on it and blah blah blah, and they start doing more and more and introducing different technologies and little cameras and this and that, and basically lots of monitoring and privacy being taken away and blah 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 blah. Applicable definitely now, and it's sort of like a Black Mirror episode, I felt. So would recommend if you're into that kind of thing. I don't read a lot of books. I want to, but I don't. That being said, I do read the odd book occasionally. And I really have no idea where that puts me on the scale of average readers. Like if I read a book a year, am I average? I think so, right? A book a year, that's certainly in my group of human acquaintances, that's probably above average. But I know there are some weirdos out there who read every day. Like their first name was Lou or something. And yeah, I found out this book had a movie made about it, which is exciting. I think that could be a thing that motivates me to read more. I love reading a book and then getting to see a movie. Even if the movie is trash, like A Series of Unfortunate Events was, and Cirque du Freak and The Hobbit. But the vice versa doesn't work for me. I don't want to read a book if I've seen the movie. I think that takes away from reading a book. Because firstly, I hate knowing what's coming already. I think that's why I like current events more so than history. And why I love live sports, but I don't want to watch an old game. But then also with having seen a movie before reading a book, you've already got the images in your head of what the people look like and, you know, different places in the book and scenes and things. And I think that takes away from what reading a book is about. I think the fun part of reading a book is the mental images that you get to create. So in any case, I'm excited to watch The Circle. You know, I've got all these images already in my head, and now I'm going to see it a different way. I'd never heard of the movie before, or the book. But it's got horrific reviews online, which I think is maybe more exciting. But it stars Emma Watson and Tom Hanks. So it can't be that bad as far as quality, like just production quality and money. Like obviously it's not going to be some weird dude that ran around with a camera. So we shall see. Oh, what else is going on? What else is going on in my life? I don't really know. I think I'm in a transitional phase in my life right now. And I don't know if that has to do with just obviously what everybody's going through. And maybe everybody feels like they're in a transitional phase. But I really do feel like I'm a couple months away from being set in a life that is going to last a long time. I don't think where I'm at right now, I don't think I know where I'm going to be in a few months. However, in 5 months, I think I'll know where I'm going to be 5 months after that, which is probably so wrong. But I guess I'm just trying to say I feel I'm going to find out a lot about myself and the people around me and my job and just my life, really, over the next few months. And I'm excited for that. I think a lot of times before I've felt stuck or I felt like nothing was going to change. I wasn't maybe excited, in a rut, bogged down, bored. And I don't think I'm any of those things right now. I think I'm a little more excited. I think I don't know what's coming tomorrow, and I think that I'm at the point where I'm just that's happy. That's exciting. That's enjoyable. That's the way I want it for right now. Every day's a new day. Get Ready, It's a New Day is a song it's called G.R.I.N.D by Asher Roth. And that was shown to me by my friend Daniel many a moon ago. And it's Asher Roth, so it's white boy rap, but I gotta listen to it now. I haven't heard it in years. And I go back to it every couple of years, and then I'll listen to it for a week straight, and then I'll go and live my life. But get ready, it's a new day. I've been on my grind. Maybe that's the recommendation. Listen to G.R.I.N.D. Yeah, that'll be it. Because, yeah, I didn't have one ready. So this episode's recommendation is a song, G.R.I.N.D by Asher Roth. Uplifting, upbeat, happy times. It's what we need during this time. It's actually a great recommendation. Good job, me. Good work. Us. We're all in this together. We're all doing this. This is only a thing with you, the listener. So you're just as big a part of this as I. And as Asher, We're one big happy unit. I read a George Carlin quote that I may have read at some point before and just never registered, but I read it a couple days ago and it really I had a bunch of chili earlier, and firstly I burnt the shit out of the roof of my mouth, but secondly I've got like these weird they're not hiccups, but they're not quite burps either. So if it sounds like I'm taking weird breaths, it's just my chili. And and the George Carlin quote is, "The mayfly lives only one day, and sometimes it rains." Really not a good voice for George Carlin, but the mayfly lives only one day, and sometimes it rains. I think what I take that to mean is that, you're only going to get one life, and life's not fair. And some people's lives are shitty. A lot of people's lives are shitty. And there's a lot of circumstances that you're going to be put in that is just the way that, the cookie crumbles. You need to be aware of that fact. And when you're aware of that fact, then you need to do with it what you can. You still got to live your day. Forget about the woe is me. Quit your bitching, Let's say something happens and you get upset. That's all well and good. That's allowed. We all have emotions and reactions to things, but don't let that feeling dominate you. Especially if it's something that you won't care about in 7 days. I've thought about this before, and I sort of call it for myself the 7-day rule. Sometimes things happen to you that ruin your entire day. And sometimes you wake up the next day and you think about it and it gets you down again. And you're in that funk for the rest of that day too. And that's 2 full days. That's 48 hours of something that just is not allowing you to be happy. And that happens, unfortunately. And then there's the next day. 3 days. And that day will probably be better, but maybe another day or two later it may come up and get you feeling some sort of way again. But I think that usually, for most things that happen in life, after 7 days, it's done. That thing that didn't go right or go your way doesn't matter after 7 days. Obviously not always the case. But if something's got you upset, try to envision where you'll be at in 7 days. If you're still going to be upset about it and thinking about it, then you probably need to come up with a plan to deal with it. It's probably a bigger problem than maybe just you alone are going to be able to handle. And you're going to need to either talk to somebody or just voice it and try to work through it, because if it's going to be bothering you that long, it's probably something pretty big. And if you look at it rationally and logically, and if you are going to be moved on from it in 7 days, completely in that time, after those 7 days, it's just you're not gonna think about it again. You should at that point realize that it doesn't really matter. And you should stop letting it get you down and stop getting so emotional over it. And that may still take time, especially in that first day. But for every emotion I feel, that's not true. I don't do it with the happier emotions as much. But for definitely the low, the sad emotions, the down emotions, the stress, the anxiety, just when I'm feeling down, or if something affects me, if something happens, somebody calls me a mean name, or they make fun of my shoes, or they don't invite me to their birthday. I'm like, well, am I going to care about this in 7 days? And if I'm not gonna, then fuck am I caring about it now for? You know? What would you have done differently today? While still following all the rules of regular, like if you had to work, you still have to work. You had to go to work. Within all the regular... I'm really spacey on words today. It has been an issue. Within the regular confines of your life today, your day, what would you have done differently? For me, happy with when I got up. Maybe could have had breakfast, but I didn't. Not too upset about that because I've eaten enough during this pandemic. So that's all good. Then I went to work, put in a solid 8, doing my bit. And I was happy with that. It was a very good day. Felt like I got things done while also feeling like I was able to go at my own pace. And I don't like to fuck around, so it's not like I was just doing nothing, but I didn't feel stressed too much. And so that's all good. I wouldn't change anything there. And now we're at days almost over. Came straight home. Made some dinner. Nothing crazy, just some fucking hot chili, which is an oxymoron, but it's the hottest chili ever, probably. Put it in Guinness. Ripley's, believe it or not. And then I sat down, I'm doing an episode. And I don't know if the point of this question was to find something that you would have done differently, or to see if you're okay with the day. And I guess I'm okay with the day, and I think that's maybe the goal. Whereas if there was something you would have changed about the day, be aware of that for tomorrow. All right, well, that's it. That's all. Goodnight Moon. How's that book go? Goodnight Mouse. Goodnight House. I'm not gonna lie to you. Goodnight Moon. I hope you all know the book Goodnight Moon. I hope everybody have it. I think most people. I have no idea. That's based off of literally nothing except for the fact that I had it, and I assume that because my mind is the only reality that I'm aware of, and I probably project onto other people that they've gone through similar experiences as me because they're just people as well. So I assume that everybody has or had Goodnight Moon. So you'll all get this reference before I sign off. But what I'm trying to say is that Goodnight Moon terrified me as a child. There's something about one of the pages, and I can't remember much of it because honestly I didn't like looking at this book because there's an image with the bunny in the bed, and there's just something about the artwork that I'm getting chills right now thinking about it. Oh my god. Yeah, it's fucking... I'm probably gonna have a nightmare tonight. It's so scary to me. And I assume it's meant to be cute and for kids, obviously, but it's just that the illustration is haunting. And I'll find the picture, the page that I'm thinking of, and put it up. And maybe I should read this book and get over a fear or something. Read it myself. I think it was read to me by my parents or by my mother, but I don't remember looking at the pages too much, and it wasn't the book that I wanted to read because I didn't want to look at it. So we'd always read I'll Love You Forever. Is that what it's called? I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. I really hope you guys are listening to this just before bed, or just before getting ready for bed, so that this soothing voice and children's stories put you in the mood for bed. But if you're listening to this around noon or in the morning or the middle of your day, then I hope you have a great day. And I'll talk to you later. Goodbye, love you forever. Like you've always. As long as I'm living, that picture of the fucking bunny rabbit's gonna haunt my dreams. Good night, good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. That's it. I don't know how to end episodes. But I do love doing this trailing off thing. Because it's fun for me. And I can just cut it all off anyway. Or I can put it all in. I might just turn the fucking outro music down low, loop it. I'll just keep going. I'll just keep talking. Feel like Rick. Another episode. Wait, another 5 years. 5 pieces of shit. Blah. Anyway, no, that's it. I'm done. Bye.
Just remember it ends, and remember it will flow back to you.
Or am I?